States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
If you are
indivisible,
press
with
star
liberty and
and
justice for
otherwise,
all.
please wait, and you will be joined into the conference.
Lord, I thank you for bringing us here together again in this new year. Bless us, O Lord, and keep us and help us govern correctly. And I pray that you lift up the families of the people that died in the helicopter accident, Lord. It was completely unexpected, and just reach out your hand and let them know you're with them. And reach out your hand and touch everybody that has passed in the past year. And just be with us as we move forward in this new year and help us, O Lord. In your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. Tonight we're going to appreciate that the chief is here, but some of our new hires are out with the flu, so we want to avoid spreading the germs all over. So we'll move our Superior Police Chief, Joaquin Manuel, will introduce new officers. We'll put that in our February agenda. So I'll move on to staff reports. Of course, it's been a little quiet over the holidays. A quick update. Thank you to all the community leaders and community members who attended the court hearing yesterday. As you all know, the town of Superior entered an amicus brief on the San Carlos Apache tribe versus the U.S. government case in regards to the Resolution Copper project. We probably had about a good 10 or 12 people there supporting our side of the case. And I guess the consensus there is that the judges all appeared to be kind of look like, isn't this the same case that we've already kind of not moved forward and the Supreme Court has turned down? It'll be a few weeks and months before we get any type of ruling on that, but it was great to see everyone there. Appreciate our public safety responders because of the accident. That was really quite unnerving for everyone involved, and so thank you to everybody on that. Lots of projects getting completed. I'm sure Mr. Pryor will give us an update on that and some, overall good progress I think that he'll have on our land exchange parcels. So Todd, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So quickly, the auditor has completed his work. He submitted that to the forestry on our land exchange parcels. Once we have a final audit, our final, am I using the wrong word? Sorry. Appraisal, sorry. It's been a long day. Once we have the appraisal, we will submit that under our contract and get it funded from Resolution Copper to purchase the property. That will put it into escrow, and we'll have about 30 more steps to complete before we're done, but at least we're nearer the finish line. So very positive that this has happened, and we are finally getting there. The NEPA for the pipeline should be done in March, so that project should be starting soon. The wastewater treatment plant is scheduled to be completed in February, so that should be finishing soon. I just submitted a grant to clean out $200,000 worth of growth on the outside of the transfer station, that entire riparian area, which is infested with invasive species like palm trees, and tamarask is going to be trimmed if we get that grant. Lots of things are happening, and it's too many to list in any one conversation. I apologize. But I will continue to send email updates to the council as things start to happen. Nothing happened last month, and now it's all happening in a few days.
Circle back week began on Monday.
So it was you sent an email last week, and it was crickets. Now you send an email and they reply in 30 seconds. So very busy.
Yes. Okay. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. If anyone has anything they'd like to take off the consent agenda, we can vote on that at the end. But our consent agenda items: approval of minutes of town council meeting on November 13th, 2025. Approval of minutes of town council work session on November 13th, 2025. Approval of memorandum of understanding MOU between the town of Superior and Verigy, working together, the town of Superior, TOS, and Verigy will develop an infrastructure improvement program to implement energy sustainability as well as design and implement solar energy at the wastewater treatment facilities, and development will be of no cost to the town of Superior. Approval of a contract between Patterson Professional Services LLC and the town of Superior for the wastewater treatment facility services per month would be $8,500. Approval of intergovernmental agreement between the state of Arizona and the town of Superior for 6,000 feet of 6-foot sidewalks along Panther Drive from US 60 to Sunset Drive. AmeriCorps' National Civilian Community Corps Project Sponsor Agreement between AmeriCorps through the NCCC program and the town of Superior, Arizona in partnership with LOST, Legends of Superior Trails. Approval of intergovernmental agreement IGA for election services between the Pinal County Board of Supervisors, the Pinal County Recorder, Pinal County Elections Department, and the town of Superior for the 2026 consolidated election cycle. Approval of the town of Superior alcohol beverage permit for Kim Magallanes for a birthday party located at the Magma Club on Saturday, February 14th, 2026 from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Approval of the town of Superior alcohol beverage permit for Superior Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses Rick Chavez for a memorial at the Magma Club on Saturday, April 2nd, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Approval of the Arizona Department of Liquor Licensing and Control Special Event License for Boyce Thompson Southwestern Arboretum by Tatum Sidney Hansen for the Flavor of Arizona event located at the Boyce Thompson Southwestern Arboretum located at 37615 East Arboretum Way, Superior, Arizona, 85173 on Saturday, April 18th, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Sunday, April 19th, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Approval of a special event use permit for the Arizona License Plate Society Club Meet located at the Magma Club on Saturday, August 8th, 2026 from 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. and approval of our department reports. Do we have any question on the consent agenda? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Tomerlin, do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Byrd, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to our new business, discussion possible approval of presentation and acceptance of fiscal year 2024-25 audit by Hinton and Burdick. Stephen Palmer, CPA, will call in to present the findings and present a PowerPoint presentation. So at this time are you on the line, Mr. Palmer?
I am.
All right, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
All right, thank you. And I'll just indicate when the slides need to be advanced. So the first slide is just an introduction, Town of Superior. This is your fiscal year 2025 audit presentation. So we will be discussing the year that began on July 1st, 2024 and ended on June 30, 2025. We can advance to the next slide. As I do these presentations for different councils, there's really two things they want to know. First of all, if they pass, and second of all, if there are any problems. And we'll get to both of those things right now. First of all, the question, did you pass? The answer to that is yes. And we communicate that in the independent auditor's report. I'm pleased to report that we issued an unmodified or a clean opinion on the town's financial statements, meaning that in our opinion, they present fairly the town's financial position and the results of its operations for fiscal year 25. We can go to the next slide. The second report that we issue is one that's required by governmental auditing standards. It's the report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance. There are a couple of different categories of findings that could potentially be issued in this report. The most significant being material weaknesses and significant deficiencies. I'm pleased to report that we did not note anything in our audit that would be needed to be reported in those categories. Excuse me. We did note one item of non-compliance with state law that we'll talk about in just a moment. We issued an additional report. We'll advance the slide where it says single audit report. The federal government requires additional audit procedures in years that the town expends $1 million or more of federal monies. The town did so in 2025. The town received some significant assistance from the USDA for the water and wastewater systems, and also through the community facilities loans and grants program. So we audited those two programs for federal compliance, and I'm pleased to report that we did not note any instances of non-compliance there. We go to the next slide, report on state legal compliance. This is that one instance of non-compliance that I mentioned a moment ago, in that the town has essentially borrowed restricted funds from the Highway User Revenue Fund and used it for other purposes. I would like to add here that the town's position with this finding improved significantly in 2025, and we'll look at that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. So if we go to the next slide where it says government-wide financial highlights. So if we could take just a minute and look at the town's finances from a very high level. The net position for the governmental activities, so this would be everything except for the utility fund and the ambulance fund. This would be all the governmental activities, the general fund, the highway user revenue fund, et cetera. Their net position at the close of the year was nearly 13 million. Meaning if you took all of the assets of these funds, subtracted the liabilities, that residual net amount is the equity. That's about 13 million. And the equity or the net position increased by 2 million in fiscal year 2025. If we look at the business type activities, the utility fund, the ambulance, those activities, the net position was 800,000. And that represented a net decrease for those activities of about 240,000. And these numbers are important because over time, whether or not the net position of the town and its different activities are increasing or deteriorating, it's a good indicator as to the town's financial health as a whole. So it's really important to watch this trend over time to ensure that the net position is progressing in a positive manner. We go to the next slide where it says Highway and Streets Fund. So the Highway and Streets Fund, the town uses this primarily to account for her fund revenues, Highway User Revenue Fund revenues that come from the state. And these funds are restricted for use on roads. This town reports an amount due from other funds of 301,000, meaning that other funds of the town over the years have borrowed from the HER fund, and those monies need to be repaid. Now, if we could focus on the third bullet point here, the amount that was borrowed from the HER fund decreased from the June 30, 2024 balance of over $1 million to 300,000, an improvement of about 825,000. So congratulations to the town. There's still a little bit of work to do there, but a significant improvement over fiscal year 24. If we can go to the next slide, it will be the first of the graphs. I think it's really interesting to look at trends over time, and that's what these graphs do. The blue line there represents the assets of the Highway User Revenue Fund. The green line is the equity, and the red line is the liabilities. You can see that in 2024, the assets and fund balance increased as the town accumulated some funds for expenditure, and those funds were expended in 2025. So you can see the assets have decreased significantly along with the fund balance. If we go to the next slide, you'll see that expenditure spiked, which is the red line, while revenues went down as well. The main reason for this is the town spent a significant amount of money in fiscal year 2025 on the Panther Drive Bridge and the Lime Street improvement projects. So funds that had been accumulated for these purposes were expended during 2025. We go to the next slide. This is the general fund trend over the past 5 years, with the top line being assets, the green line again being equity, and the red line being liabilities. You can see that there's been significant increase in assets of the general fund. However, I think it's also important to note that of the assets of the general fund, nearly 1.4 million represents amounts due from the ambulance fund. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in a moment as well. The ambulance fund continues to run a deficit, and its operations are being subsidized by the general fund. So even though you're seeing a spike in the general fund assets, it doesn't necessarily mean that spendable cash has gone up significantly, as there is that large amount due from the ambulance fund. If we go to the next slide, excuse me, These are the revenues and expenses of the general fund. The red line representing expenses, the blue line representing kind of recurring revenues or normal operational revenues, and that green line represents other financing sources and uses. In 2025, that green line went up a little bit due to bond proceeds of about 1.3 million. In the general fund, that's recognized as another financing source as it provides resources for use of the fund. And if we can advance to the next slide, this is the utility fund. Again, the blue line is assets, the green line is equity, and the red line being liabilities. The utility fund is showing positive trends. Assets are increasing, liabilities have increased somewhat, but not overly so, and that position has been consistent, increasing for the most part over the past 5 years. The next slide is the revenues and expenditures in the utility fund. The red line is operating expense and the blue line is revenues. You'll note that there's a dip in revenues in fiscal year 25. That is due not because the town is charging less for utilities or collected less, but the town chose to recognize a large amount of bad debt expense in 2025. Some uncollectible accounts receivable were written off, and that amount is netted against revenue, and that's why you're seeing that decrease in 2025. And if we go to the next slide, that should be the ambulance fund balance sheet. You can see this one's a little bit concerning. The ambulance fund, that red line is the liabilities, the blue line is the assets, and the green line again is the equity. And this fund continues to report deficits in equity and liabilities in excess of assets. I understand that the tough position for the town is the ambulance is a vital service to provide to the community. That the town certainly needs an ambulance, but it continues to run a deficit, and in essence, it's being subsidized by other funds. And if we go to the next slide, these are the revenues and expenditure trend in the ambulance fund. With the red line being the expenses and the blue line being the operating revenues, you can see that expenses continue to outpace revenues. So, any questions thus far?
No, we're good.
Okay, if not, if you'll go to the next slide, I just want to note, to let you know that effective January 1st, our firm Hinton Burdick merged with another firm called Squire. I don't think the town will notice any difference. All of the partners of Hinton Burdick are now partners in Squire. All of our professional staff moved over. The only difference I believe the town will note is a change on the letterhead. Instead of reading Hinton Burdick, it will be Squire. But I thought you should certainly be aware of that, and I've made Todd aware of this as well. If we can advance to the next slide. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to provide these services to the town. I wanted to thank Matt and Rudy and Todd for all of their assistance in completing the fiscal year 2025 audit. Audits are not a painless process. We ask a lot of questions, request a lot of documents, and make a good thorough examination of the town's accounting records to make sure that the financial statements are accurate. And I just want to thank them for their help. If we go to the last slide, that's my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me at any point. You may have questions or concerns. I would like to be a resource to the town as needed. I know that Matt Bingham is an awesome resource for the town, and he can certainly answer all the questions as well. But at any time anything comes up, please reach out. I'm happy to help, not just at all the time. With that, is there anything else?
The council doesn't even have any questions or comments?
I just have a question. Well, first a comment. I'm impressed about the decrease we had in the high, due to the highway user. Really impressive. I was wondering if there's a projection on when we can get to zero?
Some of the expenditures for the Panther Bridge carried over to this year. If you look at our current books, it shows $1 million expenditure and $300,000 brought in the HERF fund. Some of those were encumbered and counted against the last year, some were not. So it would take our accountants to tell me exactly how much we paid it down, but we paid it down significantly again. We also have a match that goes with the Panther sidewalk. So that should help pay that down as well. It's 100,000 something, and that will pay down that balance again this year. So,
And I'm sorry, I had a hard time hearing that question and the response, but if you need any feedback from me, please let me know.
Yeah, we were just, commenting on the reduction from the HERF and how far it went down, and then Todd was explaining how there's still some things that are gonna be
Okay.
put towards the 2026 budget, 2026 audit versus the 2025, so.
Okay, very good.
Councilor, did you get your question answered? Did you need more? Okay.
I guess I was asking more about like the timeline. Is it this fiscal year or?
theoretically, it is already paid down.
Okay.
And it will just take the reflection in this year's audit for it to be cleared from the books. So we are also going to be having a full audit from the Auditor General on our HERF and excise expenditures. They do that every 5 years. That is now due. So we'll be digging deep into that over the next few months. Also, a comment on the ambulance trend. It is continuing, revenues are continuing to trend down. A larger and larger portion of our population is Medicare, and the collection rates are very low on Medicare. So far this year, we are about $100,000 short of projection. That's to the first 6 months. We normally collect $250,000. We brought in about $140,000 halfway through the year. So we're seeing a trend down, and we're going to have to look at those transfers to balance that fund. I apologize, our heater is quite loud.
Shut it off.
It takes a while to turn off. It has been turned off, but it'll take a while to turn off.
Oh, yeah, it's just you on your feedback, so it's like I'm here, I'm like, that sounds like the same thing Todd just said, but, for a long week. I think we're good. Any more questions on the audit before Mr. Palmer gets off the line, or any more questions for Todd? I just really want to thank staff and our team from Colby and Powell and Hindenburg, or Squire now, because I know when the auditors are here, it kind of upends everybody's working space and where everybody's going to be to prepare for this, and I'm very proud of our staff because we continue to get clean audits. We can transparently communicate to our residents that where our money's at, where it's going, and you can kind of see where the economy is affecting certain things. So thank you all, everyone, and again, another great way to start the year to celebrate. This is a big to-do, actually, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Council, anything else on this agenda item? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion by Councilmember Tomerlin, do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Navarrete, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to agenda item 9, and that's call to the public. Is there anyone on the, we have one. Jim Shank.
Just real quick, first of all, I'd like to remind council and everyone that the AmeriCorps and CCC team actually arrives in about a half hour. So they'll be with us for the next 9 weeks, and please feel invited to take them out to dinner, to lunch, and greet them in town. And on another note, a number of our young people received e-bikes over Christmas, and I think that's great. I'm a little worried about safety. We have kids on the street going very fast, going to school, no helmets, and I worry that this is an accident waiting to happen. I don't have a solution. I don't know whether it's education, enforcement, or what, but I think we need to be aware that this is something that may end in a tragedy if we don't do something. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shank, and I think that was Valerie Garcia, she's not here. Anyone else from the public wishing to address the council at this time? You have 3 minutes. Going once, going twice. Last call, no comments. All right, there's no executive session. Summary of current events, I'll start with Councilmember Tomerlin.
So this weekend, Silver King is having their 5th anniversary party. So that's something to attend. There's always something going on in town on the weekends, so please shop local, patronize our businesses, and that's all I have.
Councilmember Navarrete.
Just Happy New Year, and the Chamber of Commerce is having their annual home tour at the end of this month, the 24th and 25th, I believe, so check that out.
Councilmember Aguilar.
Happy New Year to everyone, and I also have a problem with these e-bikes or whatever they are. I think down the road we can check it out more because they are going really fast.
Councilmember Lamb.
All I gotta do is say Happy New Year.
Councilmember Byrd.
Same thing, Happy New Year, and thank you to staff for all the hard work on the audits and whatnot, we appreciate it.
Vice Mayor Alonso.
Same, Happy New Year, staff, great job with the audit. I know it takes a lot of work, and I echo everything on those e-bikes. I live on the corner of Palo Verde and Sunset, and it's like a drag race there every single day, and running stop signs, and I witnessed a kid almost got wiped out the other day, and yeah, we need to do something about it. We should probably look at the policy that Glendale put in place regarding e-bikes.
And again, Happy New Year, everyone. Great work, staff. I appreciate everyone. I think we have an exciting 2026 looking forward as far as like all these projects that are coming to fruition. I think we have a lot to celebrate and a lot to be proud of. And just remember, we have a lot of fun events. We have the home tour, Magma Royale coming up in April, the AmeriCorps team. And to add to Mr. Shank's note, I think it's important for everybody to recognize Superior was invited to request an AmeriCorps team and apply for one. It was not so wide open. You had to be invited to apply for a team this year. And because our community does such a great job hosting, we were one of the first returning teams to invite. So it's great to have them back because that program had been unfunded during the early part of last year. So we should be very proud of that. But again, everybody be safe out there. It's cold and wet. Scheduling of meetings and events. All meetings are held at Town Hall. No meetings for the month of December, but we're in January, so this is February. Emergency Services Committee will meet on January 15th, 2026. Community Development Committee on January 22nd, 2026. Planning and Zoning Committee will be on February 5th, 2026. And Town Council meeting will be on February 12th, 2026. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn? There's a motion by Councilmember Byrd. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Aguilar. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, and we are adjourned at 7:32.